All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What is going on, YouTube? You got your guy Nades here and Gyiraszin bringing you the Thursday edition of the MLB Witching Hour here. 5 games on tap tonight. There's a big game, a little friendly clash going on tonight, Gyiraszin. You're little Detroit Lions. Oh, man, everybody look out. Detroit's back. Detroit's back. They're going to the Super Bowl this year. They're coming to town tonight into Lambeau, into the not-so-frozen tundra, sitting about 67 degrees right here in Appleton. 25 minutes from the stadium. Who knows? Maybe I find myself venturing up that way, up the interstate to that game. You excited for the game tonight? Should be a nice little Thursday night game here, a little primetime action. How we doing, man?
Man, it's been a great week. I mean, coming off that last Sunday I had, I'm still smiling. But, yeah, I mean, hey, it's a great game tonight. We got the Lions, the Packers. You know, pretty much I'd have to say the Bears and Packers are the Lions' rivals. I mean, the Vikings – I don't know. It just seemed like that was more of our rival but you know, after Lions hadn't won in Lambeau and so on, I think we won maybe the last couple, I think up in Lambeau maybe. So, you know, it's been different, but usually they schedule that shit at the end of the year. It's like the last game. It seemed like the last 2 seasons, it was like the last game of the year where Rodgers didn't give a shit or was sitting out. So we'd win by, you know, I think we won off a punt return or something. I can't remember. It was something silly. But yeah, it's going to be a great game tonight. Can't wait. I got a bowl. I'm going to have some Modelo's, maybe drink a couple screwball shots, bowl of 300, and then come on home and watch the rest of the second half. That's what pretty much I think my night's going to be, Nades. I mean, it's just that's the way it's going to work. Yeah,
this guy does it all, including shipping a freaking live final seat. Can we talk about the Sunday you had in the NFL streets? You're not just a baseball guy over here. You obviously do NFL content as well, specifically on FanDuel. But this guy, single bullet, ships the live final seat for competing for what? I think it's $2.5 million later this season. And $500K, I think, as well in the afternoon only slate. I mean, talk about $3 million up for grabs for Mr. Gyiraszin there on a single bullet on Sunday night, on Sunday main slate there. Congratulations again. I mean, you've been had an incredible Sunday there.
Yeah, it just kept on getting better and better as the day went on. But yeah, it was a great day. Basically, it was one of those days I told myself a story, how I wanted my team to go. And I knew everybody was paying up for receivers. People were paying up for Hill, Jefferson, Keenan Allen. I went with one of them, Keenan Allen, loaded up on receivers. And when I was running through, normally, you know, you sweat out cues the last very second, you know, and I literally had it locked up to start the fourth quarter. I needed Pollard to get me 3 yards. To start the fourth quarter, first carry out the gate, he got 9. Once I got past that fumble point, it was good. But the bummer part was, I mean, of the bummer of it all, I came in second in the stinking FanDuel queue. So I could have shipped a queue on both stinking sites. And, you know, but the DK one's a special one. It's just where the big money is. FanDuel's only $500K up top. And no, they're doing some silly cruise. I'm not no cruise guy. I'm not going on no damn cruise. My feet stay on the ground. That's just the way it's going to be. But, yeah, I can't wait, man. It's in Scottsdale this time. I went last year to New Orleans, and that was just no offense to DraftKings, but the event was just the dump. New Orleans was a dump. So kind of glad we're going to Scottsdale. I hear pretty good things about the golf resort we're going to. So maybe I'll get to sneak in a little round of golf on top of it, win $3 million, come home, let my new fiance retire, and then I'll just keep working, grinding at some DFS and make my life a little easier, pay for my kids' college, and just do what dads do, Nades. That's what we do.
Yeah, I mean, that's a dream. You want to talk about a little bucket list item there. It's going to be shipping at $3 million, $2.5 million is the big one that you want, right? To be the NFL, the pivoted, right, coveted NFL world champion there. But hey, this is baseball show. We got to shout out our guy Ran. Absolutely incredible. I mean, 6 lineups the other night into $50,000. Dusted the slate there, 214.95. And if you listen to this Witching Hour show, you could have built his team right here on the show. Used our content, used the projections, used the show over here, and not an MME guy, right? Didn't have 150. He had six lineups in there. Definitely probably hand-builded. Founding family member over here as well, as you see his username there, Steve, in the Discord. Ran. That SHIPIT Nation logo looks very nice up there with 50K. Hey, it's not 50K up top tonight here on the baseball streets, but the NFL Showdown has $1 million up top, and I posted the NFL Showdown breakdown that Hoop, Tambo, and Title did over on our partners Mayo Media Network channel over there, where all the main NFL shows are live streamed. Click that link, go over there, watch that, throw it on 1.5x. You can be out of there in about 35 minutes, 40 minutes, and get all the takes that you need for tonight, because all the internet news came in before that slate. All the questionable guys are expected to play. Montgomery, all those guys, Watson, Aaron Jones. So pretty much everything you have is in front of you now, and they broke down that. So head over to that. But Gyiraszin, this is a baseball show. Everyone in here, all 24 people, are grinding baseball in September here, and these baseball streets been very, very good over here in SHIPIT Nation for us. Had some incredible wins, crushed the slate last night, absolutely nuked everything. Was in contention to ship everything. Just had a couple pieces not get there, which is definitely how it goes sometimes. Max Muncy, definitely a little hurtful last night, but we got 5 games, and we got Coors Field on the slate again, 5 games, and the best offense in baseball, right back to the well in Coors Field here. Let's talk about starting pitching first. Let's go 7,900 and up. We'll go Marcus Stroman, Bassett, Montgomery, Luzardo, and Gilbert. Throw out 3 guys right away that are actually all the top 4 are all going to be 30 to 35% upwards in ownership. Bassett's pushing 40%, same as Luzardo. Montgomery and Gilbert not far behind. We're sitting right around the 30% range. All 4 of those guys, I think, are all 4 in play. Bassett, I think, is my favorite guy. Jordan Montgomery, I think, is in a great spot here against Seattle as well. A little bit lower owned than the other guys. Luzardo has the Mets there, and then Logan Gilbert against that Texas lineup. As the most expensive guy in the slate, I think I'm going to be a little bit under on Logan Gilbert, but where are you going up in this top tier?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the pricing on both sites, they're way off. Like the different, if you take the top five guys that I'm looking at here tonight, you kind of look, they got them in, different kind of order, which I thought was interesting. But I mean, on FanDuel, I think Gilbert and Peterson are my 2 favorite at this point. Miami, Peterson's just been pitching really well lately. I mean, you look at him, he's had 25 strikeouts in his last maybe 15, 16 innings, something like that. So definitely like Peterson. The thing that gets me right now with baseball is at this point, Nade's like, we're literally in the last, this is going to be his last start, right? Like, so is he there? You know what I mean? Like,
right. It's
hard to get in the guy's head. We can sit here and analyze all the statistics and look at all the shit we want. It's just like, to me, like, if I'm Peterson, like, am I like everybody in that Mets locker room is probably ready to get the hell out of there and get through the summer. They're a big disappointment. Like, I just think it's hard sometimes. And that's the only thing that scares me. I try to put that in the back of my head, but that's the thing that I got to come up with at this point in time, like in my mind. So I think to myself, am I safer by playing teams I think are still in it? And those pitchers, is that something I need to kind of decide on? So that's kind of where I'm at, to be truthful. I mean, I could sit here and say, yeah, Gilbert's got, a tough matchup with Texas, which he does. But I think Texas at this point, they also could be cruising. Like, like certain teams are already in it. Like, are they going to start pinch hitting guys? Like, it just gets funny at this point in time. It gets to be tough. But Luzardo, he's got a decent matchup. He's just been up and down every other start. Good, bad, good, bad. So at this point, I mean, Bassett, I like him as, like you were mentioning, he's had, 4 out of 5 quality starts here in his last few. So Bassett's been pitching really well. He's getting over the 6-7 inning mark. I think Bassett's probably one of the safest plays, but just trying to figure out which way you want to move him around. Montgomery, I'm not paying 10-2 for Montgomery at this point for Seattle. I think you need some bats on this slate. So I'm kind of washing Montgomery off. I want to pay down a little bit at my pitcher, which is why I was looking at Gilbert and Peterson, but it does scare me that, like I mentioned about Peterson, I think Bassett's probably going to be the chalk on FanDuel. So I guess now at this point, that's my question. Am I going to eat the chalk, or do I want to be a little different and pay down and take some bats? But I don't think I'm playing Montgomery tonight. I'm not there.
Yeah, I do like Montgomery a little bit more, especially on DraftKings. I mean, he's 8,800 only on DraftKings. So I really like Bassett and Montgomery. A little bit under on Luzardo and Gilbert up at the top, to be honest. So I think I'm going with those two. And then I think David Peterson's fine as a 7K guy. But when we talk on this lower tier, I actually like a little pivot off of him a little bit too. Realistically, the 5 pitchers on the slate that are the talking point, I'll just say them for everyone. It's Gilbert, Luzardo, Montgomery, Bassett, and Peterson. Those all 5 of those guys, I think it's pretty close. Yeah, you can poke holes in each of them. There's not a ton of separation between all 5 of them. They are going to be 30 to 40% ownership, and they're very similar. I'm just taking a lean on Montgomery and Bassett over the other 2. I do have a little interest in Peterson. Might as well just talk on the rest of the slate here on DraftKings. But I actually like to pivot. I'm going right back to that Coors Field matchup. I'm going to Ryan Yarbrough, right against those same Rockies. I cored Sheehan last night, and if you played him, he dropped his little ball bag on the entire slate, posting a 30-point game on these Rockies here. Yarbrough ranks very, very well in our metrics over here. Going to throw probably 70 to 80 pitches here. I think he can do enough. He's just 6,300. I'm seeing about 10% ownership on him, which is about 1/4 the ownership of David Peterson. $700 cheaper, allows you to spend up for some of those Dodgers bats there. The Braves and Cubs game is a good game environment as well. So I like Ryan Yarbrough down cheap. So for me, it's 4 pitchers for me. Bassett number 1. I'll go Montgomery number 2, Ryan Yarbrough 3, and then David Peterson would be the 4th for me. Go ahead and rank your top 4.
I'd go Bassett 1. See, I'm just looking at these prices on this, for FanDuel. I'm going FanDuel. So I know you're pretty much talking DK. It's just amazing. I mean, Gilbert's the highest priced pitcher on DK, and yet he's the 4th highest on FanDuel. So that, it's just funny to me, the site. But on FanDuel, Bassett 1 for me. I'd go Peterson 2, Gilbert 3, and then Luzardo and Montgomery. I'm really not too interested in. I'm intrigued a little bit about what you said about Yarbrough. Colorado is just bad.
Sheehan just dusted last night, and Yarbrough, the pitch count isn't going to be there. But man, this Rockies team is just not good. I mean, 25%
I think with Yarbrough
strikeout
he
rate.
just has very little room for error, right, for you to get to where you need to get to because he has such a low pitch count. So if he does
more
give
of
up,
a DK play. It's just
yeah. That, like on FanDuel for me, that would be he's in play, but he just has very little room for error. So, I'm chasing that quality start, right? On FanDuel, the quality start is something you definitely want to keep in mind. Like
you might want to take a look more at Jordan Montgomery on FanDuel because like Sean in the chat said, Texas still chasing for that spot. Montgomery's been good and he's going to pitch deep and he has a strikeout matchup here against Seattle. So might want to look at him a little bit more. I like him quite a bit on DraftKings at the price, but I get it. Pricing's different on FanDuel. And him being up there and
he's 10-2. He's the highest priced pitcher on FanDuel. And my thing is I've been playing around with the stacks I like and the bats, and it was tough. It wasn't even in the ballpark for me to get up to 10-2. So yeah, I kind of just left them off.
No, absolutely.
I love me some Dodgers. I mean, we talking about Coors Field, so I think the Dodgers are decent. But I mean, so those bets are expensive. That's why I got to pay down. So, it's just tough to get up to Montgomery. But I can't. He is the good play. Don't get me wrong. But it's just hard to build the lineup I want.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I get it. That's pitching. We talked through everything. Again, the five that I named off the top 4 price guys, and then David Peterson is going to be where all the ownership focus is. You go anyone else. Definitely going to be a little bit lower owned. Montgomery, Bassett, my 2 favorite up at the top. Ryan Yarbrough, my cheap guy, and then David Peterson just de facto against this Miami team, and he's been very good is kind of where I'm going at pitching. Let's go game by game here, talk some bats. And first game, I had little Mr. Aaron Judge last night, little double dong in my secondary core for the members over here at SHIPIT Nation. That was nice to see that lineup crushed. My main lineup crushed. We had a great night in the MLB streets here. It's always nice when you get Aaron Judge, when nobody's going to play him, when you got guys like Mookie, you got JD Martinez, some of those expensive Dodger bats right in his same price range. And Aaron Judge sitting there a little bit cheaper than those guys with just as much upside. And he put 2 over the wall last night. Had a little BVP against Barrios as well for all the BVP truthers out there. That was nice to see. He's down 6,200, hits 2 bombs last night, loses $100 on the salary against the worst pitcher here in Bassett. Interesting move there by DraftKings. I think Aaron Judge is an elite one-off again here. I still like Bassett a lot. Wouldn't be the craziest thing even to play Judge against Bassett. You're probably going to risk one of those Dodger spots or one of those Braves spots in your lineup, but could pay dividends on a short slate like this. Aaron Judge always has the upside. So do like Aaron Judge quite a bit. Really outside of that, no interest else on the Yankees. And then on the Blue Jays, I think the Blue Jays are interesting here because Luke Weaver's on the mound and he's no good by any means. Blue Jays 5.5 or 5.1 implied run total right around there. I just haven't been a Blue Jays guy too much. I think they're fine in play, but I'm really focused around the Braves, the Dodgers, and the Cubs pretty much on this slate is where I'm focused. So I didn't get to the Blue Jays. I think they're in play. Not a ton. Do you see anything I'm missing?
Well, we can go to Aaron Judge. I mean, that dude's the hottest hitter last 15 days in baseball. 1.428 OPS. He's got 6 homers. He's 15 for 40 with 6 bombs, 17 RBIs. I mean, yeah, he's got as many strikeouts pretty much as he does hit, but he's hitting 375. I mean, he's closing out the year here, padding up some stats. Yeah, Aaron Judge is definitely somebody that you should consider as a one-off for sure. And then Toronto, when I was looking at all my squads here, if it wasn't Toronto and you took Toronto Blue Jays off their name and me looking at the whole thing, I'd be interested. I literally was debating with them with the Cubs, going back and forth. If they were, I'd say that right now the Blue Jays probably 4th on my list as far as teams. But man, the Blue Jays have been a thorn in my ass all year. They've never seemed to put it together for me. Every time I go to play them, it's not worked out. So I'm not going there. It's too late in the season for me to be bothering with them. I haven't been bothered with them. So I kind of crossed them off, but I did look at the Blue Jays. I thought the Blue Jays were interesting. I kind of, like I said, had them on par with the Cubs. I got Dodgers 1, Braves 2, Cubs 3, Blue Jays 4. So, I mean, that's pretty much where I was at. But I can't fault you if you want to look at Blue Jays. I think you'll get them probably fairly reasonably cheap today. Might be a good pivot off some of these top teams. I think they could keep up. They just burned me too many times for me to go there, but hey, I could not fault you for doing it though.
Yeah, no, and I see our guy in the chat, Austin Wells is in that lineup at just 3K batting fourth. So you want to talk about a little mini stack against Bassett, who's going to get ownership. Aaron Judge, Austin Wells, a little 2-4 stack there. Austin Wells has power as well. Fills the catcher position at just 3K flat. That's a nice little mini stack there, and might get the job done for you on DraftKings there. So I do like that little mini stack there. And then I'm under on the Blue Jays as well. I get the reasoning. I think they pick up ownership on the slate as well because they do have they're projected actually right now to be the second highest owned stack of the night, behind obviously the Dodgers there because of their implied run total and Luke Weaver on DK. Yes,
I gotta assume they're cheaper than the other 4 teams. Obviously, Cubs and obviously those. Those are the 3 probably most expensive teams on the slate, regardless anyway, right? So the Blue Jays are getting at a discount, so I could probably see that on DK. I didn't really look at DK pricing, but that's why I was saying I was paying down for pitching today. It's too tough.
Yeah, no. So DraftKings, their price is definitely fair. So I get the reasoning.
Definitely interesting, especially I didn't see what he was on FanDuel.
He's 2,400 on FanDuel, and nobody ever plays a catcher. A little lefty-righty split there. So I think the little Aaron Judge, Austin Wells mini stack might get the job done here tonight at pretty low ownership because people want to play Bassett, myself included. But you can never go wrong with Mr. Aaron Judge. And then Austin Wells, stud prospect, hitting cleanup tonight, I think is a great play. So it sounds like we're in line, a little bit under on the Blue Jays. I'm definitely under on the Blue Jays on DraftKings at their ownership. There's pretty condensed ownership in terms of pitching on this slate. I like the Dodgers as well, where the ownership's condensed. I'm not going to go to a chalky Blue Jays team where I just haven't played the Blue Jays all year. So that's one stand I am making on the slate. I'll be under on them. Next game on the slate here, I think this is a pitcher's duel here. Marlins, Mets, both teams sitting right around a 4. Marlins around a 4 implied run total. Mets at 3.5. Pete Alonso, sure. Francisco Lindor, sure. Vientos is cheap at first base. I think he hit a bomb last night. Those 3, I guess, if you want to. Luzardo seems to be the clear-cut chalk on DraftKings. For me personally, I'm off this game in terms of bats. If it beats me, it beats me. You can always play Jorge Soler against the lefty, Josh Bell, Jake Berger. All three of those guys have very, very good numbers against lefties. Pretty cheap. Don't think a lot of people go to him. David Peterson going to be the second highest or the highest owned pitcher on DraftKings slate. So if I had to pick a side, I think I'd prefer some of these Marlins bats at their salaries against David Peterson here. So Marlins might be one of my sneakier mini stacks on this slate. Do you agree?
So when I was kind of explaining to myself about Peterson at the beginning and being afraid if they're going to be there mentally and all that, that's why I was almost thinking to myself, which I was going to lead into once we started talking about this, is maybe you load up on a Miami as a hedge stack, maybe play like half your volume on one and play maybe double your volume on, if you wanted to play Peterson, maybe have a little bit coming back with Miami. And reason being is you look at some of the numbers. Soler 461 WOBA against lefty, Bell's 379, Berger 396. I mean, De La Cruz it's 311. Bird.
Don't sleep on Nick Fortas. Nick Fortas in at the catcher position, 2,700. You can do a little 8-1-2-3 stack.
Yeah,
wrap it around at no ownership for Miami, and that might just ship all the money tonight.
I mean, if you like Peterson, I think it's not a bad move at all because literally one go up, the other one's going the other way. Like, I mean, it's a decent strategy. I mean, even if you put a little bit on it and cover yourself, if you put in let's say you're playing a $50 single entry and you put it in a $25 single entry the other way, like, it's just, to me, it's a decent hedge. I just think there's too much at this time of the year, you don't know what's going on in these guys' heads, man. That's just the point. Like, we're not in the middle of June, July, where these guys are, playing a lot of these veterans. Would you give two shits? I wouldn't. I'd be like, I want to get the hell out of here. I want to
go to the golf courses.
Right. Like these guys, I mean, they're tired of this crap, so I mean, it's a long season, very long season. These guys
start getting into 159, 160th game, right? Like you're pretty much checked out when you're not playing for anything.
Could you imagine playing softball that many games? You wouldn't even want to play softball that much. Like
I already don't want to play softball. I already want to go out to the tee box and grab the old driver out of the bag and rip one off.
Right. So that's what I mean. Like, I think it's just that time of year. I think it's a decent strategy. So yeah, Miami for me is definitely is going to be my low owned stack tonight. And I'm probably going to even have Peterson as a pitcher. I think it's just something to where we're at in the point in the season. I think it's a decent play. So yes, I do like your Miami call. As far as the Mets bats go, I'm going to pass on them. I think I just respect the Luzardo enough. I mean, you might get lucky and get a homer with somebody like Alonso, maybe Lindor if you wanted to go there, but I'll pass. I think Miami's definitely that more interesting side. Now, if I was going to pull a one-off off Miami, it'd be Jake Berger.
Yeah, I like Jake Berger or Soler. I like Fortes a decent amount as well. Like I said, I like those four bats quite a bit from Miami. They're not going to have any ownership either, and they're all pretty cheap on DraftKings. So no ownership against the hedge, chalky pitcher on a short slate. And baseball, it's September, end of September. I mean, we're rounding into the last 3 or 4 regular, two or three regular season games here. Who knows what's going to happen? So I think that's a great play there. 3 games left. If you guys are here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We appreciate everyone in here grinding out this baseball slate. Next game we have, got to talk about both sides are going to get ownership here. One of the best hitting environments on the slate here in Truist Park because game's in Atlanta and it's temperatures are in the 80s. You look everywhere else, pretty cold outside of Coors Field. That's just what you get with fall weather in baseball here. I like both sides in this one. Dylan Dodd, I think, is going to start for the Braves, and then Smith Shawver, I think, is coming in after, if I'm not mistaken. Marcus Stroman starting for the Cubs. I think the Braves are the direct pivot off the Dodgers ownership because right now I'm seeing the Braves very, very low, one of the lowest owned teams on the entire slate. And anytime you can get offense like the Atlanta Braves at home against the Stroman pitcher who sitting below league average in terms of strikeouts. Yeah, he doesn't give a ton of hard contact than that, but you look at this Braves lineup. I mean, 1 through 9 firmly in play for me. Like I always love the Braves here as the pivot off the Dodgers. If you're not going to the Dodgers, I playing 2 teams. One team's a 5-man Braves stack. The other is a 5-man Dodgers. Is how I'm approaching this slate. And then the Cubs also interesting to me as well. Where are you going in this one?
Yeah, the Braves are definitely the pivot, even over on FanDuel. And, a move I'd kind of like to do sometimes, let's just say you're building up your Dodger 4-man stack. Well, maybe go look over at the Braves. And if you got, I'm not saying doing it with Acuna and Betts, but you could do it with Acuna and Betts. Like just swap.
Matt Olson, Freddie Freeman is the perfect example.
You could do that. Like you could still stack and just didn't have one of those other guys, and you could still 4-man stack somewhere else. Like use one of these other guys as a one-off, because even if that stack goes off, if Acuna beats Betts, you're going to be ahead of all those other stack. Like you just traded basically. So sometimes that's just a decent move I like to do. But this game's definitely 1 through 9. I think it was Sean mentioned that it was Eddie Rosario's birthday today. So
and he's batting 6th. He's up in the 6th spot behind Ozuna.
Yeah, so they moved him up a little bit for his birthday. Mike Harris looked, he got booted down a little bit. But I think the Braves are definitely interesting, as you mentioned. Anytime you can get the Braves low owned, but that Braves team is sick. I got to give Acuna, man. I mean, holy shit. 70 stolen bases and 40 bombs. Like I remember when Canseco did 40-40 when I was younger in like 1990 something, whatever the fuck it was. And that guy, nuts. I mean, that was like one of the baseball's biggest accomplishments ever. And I haven't seen them celebrating Acuna like they celebrated Canseco way back then. They made a huge deal about that. But man, right. I'll tell you what, that guy is amazing. But yeah, you can play any of these Braves. The Cubs, I think, are interesting. As I mentioned, they're one of my third favorite stack. I think you could actually game stack this one just because you mentioned the hitting environment's great. If you wanted to do that, game stack is definitely why. But in play, I should say. But yeah, I think, Acuna. I get the rule change thing, but we never really saw Acuna give it a whole season really either. So no. That's the thing either. We never really got a shot to see him. Now coming in next year, could Acuna do 50-50? I think that's possible, but. If he don't win MVP, man, that's some bullshit. But
I mean, he should. The kid's a complete stud. You can obviously play him any slate. He's expensive, but what did he do last night? 2 stolen bases and a bomb or something like that. I mean, he nuked the slate, and I like him again here. Yeah, 1 through 9. And don't forget about my boy Orlando Arcia down there in the 9 spot, 3,700. His price is coming down on DraftKings. Fills a weak shortstop position. Everyone's going to go right back to the Dodgers there and throw in Kiki Hernandez at that shortstop position. I think you can go right there. I mean, Kiki Hernandez, 3,500 in Coors Field. You find $200 and play Orlando Arcia there. I think that's a great play. But, I like both sides of this game. Prefer the Braves side. Braves, my second favorite stack of the board behind the Dodgers. Cubs for me, I like the cheaper guys better. I mean, Yan Gomes, maybe if he sees Dylan Dodd here with one at bat, he might have a shot. Not sure how long Dodd's going to pitch here. But yeah, give me the Braves. I love the Braves here.
Seizuke and Happ both are over 1,000 OPS the last 15 days. So those are their 2 hotter hitters at this point. And then Al, I see you in the chat. I will also be at that game on Saturday, the Tiger game at 1:00. It's supposed to be 80 degrees here in Metro Detroit. It's going to be awesome. Miggy's second to last game. So I didn't want to give up my Sunday football. I'll be watching them Tigers. But I'm going to go Saturday too. So maybe at some point, you never know. Maybe I'll catch you. I'll wear my SHIPIT shirt. How about that?
There we go.
Well,
There we go. Well, let's talk about it.
We got 2 games. I'll buy you a beer. How about that? You find me, I buy you a beer.
I see our guy Parabay in here. Parabay, what's going on, man? He says, Lindor, 30-30. I did mention Lindor's name when we talked about the Mets. You can always play him with the stolen base and home run upside there as well. So don't mind Lindor. 30-30 is not bad.
Man, 30-30 didn't even get mentioned, man.
Right.
40-70 just. Right.
30-30 is still incredible. I mean, anytime you're swiping bags and hitting bombs, you're probably doing pretty good. I'm just going to say that. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the chalkiest stack of the night, everyone. I mean, the Dodgers have just been printing money outside of that day game at Coors Field. Implied to score 7 runs here, and they get Chris Flexen, who's not any good, and a terrible Rockies bullpen that's gotten absolutely torched the last couple of days. They're taxed. They're not feeling good. And Dodgers, I mean, Mookie Betts, Freeman, Muncy, Martinez, Hayward, Taylor, Austin Barnes, and Kiki Hernandez are in there. I don't love those 2 guys a lot. Don't love David Peralta much either as well. I wish James Outman was in there. But the top 6 for me, love them. Chris Taylor just 3,900. Jason Hayward just 3,700 on DK. These guys are very cheap on FanDuel as well. Love the Dodgers. Not a crazy take by any means. Obviously, they're in Coors Field, guaranteed ninth in at bats. I mean, what can you say at this point of the year? Dodgers in Coors Field. Last 2 nights they've went nuclear. Could they let down on a short slate here? Sure. But I'm still loading the wagon on them. Love the Dodgers. And then the Rockies side, I'm off the Rockies completely. I actually like Yarbrough a little bit as a cheap pitcher here. Personally, where are you going in this one?
Yeah, I mean, Flexen's one of them reverse splits pitchers. He just can't strike out any righties. He's the last 15 days, he's at like barely 9%, 12% on the year. He's got a 267 WOBA against lefties or righties. I'm sorry. I mean, he's terrible. Or ISO. I'm sorry, 267 ISO. But man, he's just not been good against the righties. Mookie's my favorite play in the whole slate. Mookie's my favorite pretty much most days. But I'll tell you, Mookie, Will Smith, JD Martinez, all these guys for me, that's where I'd start with in my stacks. I think they're all just in great shape here tonight. So, yeah, I just don't see any way around it, man. Flexen's just not very good. That bullpen's not very good. I mean, it's just not a good scene for the Rockies over there. But you mentioned the Rockies side. You know, if you're going to look at anybody on the Rockies, Nolan Jones been smoking the crap out of the baseball. He's like third in MLB. He's 17 out of 41 with 3 bombs the last 15 days. But I just see in the chat Will Smith's out of the lineup. That's surprising.
Austin Barnes is in there.
Yeah, that's surprising. I didn't see that yet. I didn't even figure that'd be out. But I think Jones is interesting from the Colorado side. I think he's been hitting the ball pretty well.
Yeah. Austin Barnes, I guess, is fine if you want a punt catcher. He's been pretty good against righties over the last 30 days. 238 ISO, strikeout rate under 10%. So not the craziest play there. A little rapid around up to the top to those big boys, I think is fine. Jason Hayward is actually my preferred outfielder there behind JD Martinez. Max Muncy, love Muncy, Freeman, Betts. I mean, you can't go wrong there. On the Rockies side, I mean, looking at Yarbrough, he's not a crazy pitcher by any means. He's very, very good against righties, so just lefties only for me. Gives up more power to lefties. So, yeah, Nolan Jones would be my favorite by far. But, I mean, Yarbrough is going to face 7 righties here, and he's got a 30.5% strikeout rate over the last 30 days against right-handed hitters. So, give me all the Yarbrough tonight at that low-owned play there. Direct pivot off of David Peterson at cheaper and 1/4 the ownership. So, no Rockies for me personally outside of Nolan Jones. Last game of the slate here, we got the Rangers heading into Seattle, facing Logan Gilbert. Rangers, high-powered offense here. They've been hitting the baseball pretty good. Now they get a good pitcher here in Logan Gilbert. Both teams applied to score under 4 runs here. Really not a ton of interest in either side of this game for me for bats. I like the Dodgers way more. I like the Cubs. I like the Braves. And then I like the Marlins mini stack and contrarian low-owned stack more than either of these teams. But do you see anything I'm missing?
No, I mean, I'm agreeing with you with the Miami. I mean, this Texas-Seattle game, I'm not too interested in. So, yeah, definitely like what you're saying there with Miami. More I think about it, definitely like that Miami little mini stack idea. I think that might not be a bad idea. But as I mentioned, I think I'm going to play 2 teams over on FanDuel. One's going to have Peterson. The other one is going to have a stack of Miami. And I'll probably put the Braves with my Miami stack.
Yeah, I will say these lefties for Texas, Corey Seager, Nate Lowe, Evan Carter, if he's in there, Taveras, Jonah Heim, the lefties, because Gilbert over the last 30 days, strikeout rate sitting right around league average against lefties, gets hit for power, more fly balls to the lefties, low ground ball rate. So I would like some of these lefties. Corey Seager's the elite one-off on any slate, 6,400. The kid's incredible. So give me the lefties only for the Rangers. I think they're fine as a contrarian low-owned stack. Pretty much no righties for me, and then no Mariners here against Montgomery. I think Montgomery is a good pitcher play on this slate because Rangers are playing for seeding for the playoffs here. So that's all the games. Let's go ahead and give the people your low-owned pitcher call of the evening. Where are you going? Or your favorite pitcher? Just
I think over on FanDuel, as I mentioned, I'm probably going with Peterson on one of my teams, and the other team I'm probably going to have Bassett. So Those are my two guys. I like them equally the same. I understand the Jordan Montgomery love. Yes, he's been pitching very well. I just want bats. I got to pay up for my bats. I can't get to Montgomery. So not going to happen. I think Yarbrough is more interesting on DK, as you mentioned, if you wanted to go down a little bit. I do like that. You talked me into that. So my low-owned pitcher, I mean, like I said, I'm just going Bass. I think they're all going to, that 5 we talked about, as we mentioned, probably all going to be between 20 and 35%, low end 20 some. So I don't think any of them are really going to be low owned of those 5, but give me Bassett and Peterson.
Yeah, my pitcher Tall, I talked about it quite a bit. It's he's no Sheehan from last night, but I still think he posted about 18 DraftKings points here tonight at 6,300. I'd put him in contention to even outscore David Peterson here tonight at significantly lower ownership, cheaper price point. I'm going to Ryan Yarbrough against the Rockies here. Going to face 7 righties, like I talked about. He has a 30% K rate against righties over the last 30 days. Think he can get the job done here. Going to be probably 10-ish% owned here on this short slate. And I think he outscores David Peterson here tonight. That's where I'm going. Kick it over to you, Gyiraszin, your home run call of the night.
Well, I think you and I, the last couple Thursday shows, have both nailed our home run calls. I think this is like 2 in a row. We'll go for 3 in a row here. I'm not going to take your Aaron Judge because I know that's what you probably want. So I'm going Jake Berger, as I mentioned earlier, would be my favorite one-off in that Miami. So Jake Berger for me to hit a bomb here tonight.
Yeah, I was actually going to go to Jake Berger there. So you did take my guy there. Let me just see here.
You like Judge. It's okay. It's not that easy of a call. Most people aren't going to play him.
Yeah, I just don't want to go back. I just don't want to go. I don't like going up to a guy like that. Let me go. I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to go to the Braves, and I'm going to go to a direct pivot off of I'm going up at first base. I already talked about a direct pivot off of Coors Field, off of Freddie Freeman. I'm going to Matt Olson, hitting cleanup tonight against Stroman here. 366 expected ISO on the year. I think Matt Olson comes in way lower owned than Freddie Freeman. I think the Braves could definitely outscore the Dodgers here tonight on this slate. Give me Matt Olson as the home run call of the night. That's going to do it for the show. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Any final remarks for you, Gyiraszin?
How about we just ship some football? We're going to ship some baseball because that's what we do at SHIPIT Nation. So let's ship them both. Let's get some screenshots. We got to have some screenshots for some baseball tomorrow. Let's get some screenshots for some showdown tonight. Everybody, make sure you guys check out that showdown show. Those are really helpful with the boys over there breaking it down for everybody. So make sure you guys check that out as well. But, man, I'm excited. I mean, it is coming down to the end of baseball. I love me some playoff baseball. That first week, some fun DFS, and then it does not dwindle down, obviously. But that first week of playoffs is a lot of fun. So we get a little bump in the road here. These tournaments kind of suck right now, especially when we got football. But don't worry, there'll be some nice ones here for the playoffs. So that's when, we don't got to worry about guys not giving a shit and everything else to be on. I mean, it's a great time of year. I can't wait. And on the other side, my buddy Nades, we got to make us a friendly wager for next Thursday. What if I lose, the Lions lose, you got to go buy a Lions shirt and wear it on the show next week. If the Packers win, I'll go buy me a Packers shirt and wear the Packers shirt on the show. How about that?
All right. Deal. There it is. The wager's set. If the Lions beat the Packers tonight in Lambeau, I'm going to be sad, and I'm going to have to wear Lions gear next Thursday on this show. If not, I want to see you in some Packers gear and saying go Pack Go to kick off the show next Thursday. That's going to do it. I posted that link one more time for the Thursday night football breakdown that our guys Hoop, Tambo, and Title did. Click that link. It'll take you to the Mail Media Network. Throw it on 1.5 speed. You can watch that show in about 30 minutes, 35 minutes or so. That's going to do it for this baseball show. Good luck tonight. Hopefully everyone has a great night watching sports, baseball, NFL. Enjoy some cold beverages with your friends, your family. Get some pizza, get some chicken wings. Have a great night. Good luck tonight. In all your contests, have fun. Safety meeting. For Gyiraszin, I'm Nades. We'll catch you guys next time. Let's ship it.